Open and welcome back to another Ed and Lena
video. Wow.
Today we are giving you guys marriage advice for newlyweds, and we've been married for
almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years together, for almost 8 years. So we thought, why not give you guys some good advice, especially since a lot of you guys are probably locked in with your significant other right now.
Oh man.
So we want to give you guys some advice to learn how to effectively communicate and enjoy each other's presence throughout your marriage.
And this will be a 2-part video.
Yes. So in the first part, we'll give you 5 tips, and the second part will also give you 5 tips. And the second part will be posted the following week.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the video.
Okay, so tip number 1 is to communicate and to be open to compromise. So the reason why they're paired is because a lot of times all you hear is, oh, communicate.
Yeah.
That's great. But if you're not open to compromise, you're probably making things worse.
Mm-hmm.
So just remember, it's great to communicate. It's super important. Almost everything on this list is based off of communication.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to compromise, you're probably not
right.
gonna...
I mean, I feel like it's like someone like yelling at a wall or whatever.
Yeah.
If it's that situation. So.
Yeah. That's true.
It is. Yeah.
Have you seen the meme with the brick wall and people yelling at the brick wall and people are not getting it?
No.
It's
like that. So
yeah.
if you don't know how to communicate with each other, then that's kind of what it is. It's like you're just talking to a wall.
Yeah. Number 2 is be open to your partner's point of view and to have a growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason why you need to be open to your partner's point of view is because you want to be at a point where not only are you hearing them or having a discussion, not only are you compromising with them, where you don't want to appease them by saying, oh, okay, sure, whatever you want. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is to actually take the time to actually consider their opinion,
mm-hmm.
consider the why they want to do this,
mm-hmm.
And having a growth mindset. Whenever, I think it was Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Right.
There were 2 mindsets. There was the fixed mindset and the growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
The fixed mindset in a relationship would say, oh, I can't do that, I'm stubborn. Or, oh, I can't do that, I can't lower my voice, I'm loud. That's fixed mindset. A growth mindset would take the critique and would look to see how they can make the matter better, how they can make a situation better. Mm-hmm. And so, in a relationship, you always want to have a growth mindset. Relationships that are strong is because they have growth mindset.
Yeah, you're always growing together.
You want to grow together. You want to look at how you guys can improve together.
Mm-hmm. And so that goes back to the first one we were talking about, that compromise. It's not only in how you're, in communicating with each other. It's also in growing and in being able to adapt, I guess, in that relationship. All right, the next one is to focus on changing yourself, not your partner. I mean, so many times, I know for a lot of us out there, so many times we're like, oh my gosh, the problem is her, or the problem is him, not me, or, things like that. What? Okay. No. So a lot of times we're like, the problem is him, not me, or the problem is her, not me. And that's not the best way to look at it, because you can't. I think you can't really go into a relationship on top of that trying to change someone, for one, and for 2, like, really the only person that you can control is yourself. And I don't remember who it was, but there was this person that was talking about how they would get into arguments with their spouse, and then they would ask God to change that person, but then he looked back and he didn't look back, but he
just realized.
Yeah, he realized that there are things that he could change too, so he should be praying for God to change him as well.
Yeah.
So you never know, like, there might be things that you do that are just not good that needs to be changed.
Yeah.
But it's important that when you do get into that argument and you're like, man, what is wrong with this person? Like, take some time to reflect on what might be wrong with you as well, and to pray for God to kind of reveal that to you, to see what you need to change, because that also goes back to always having a growth mindset, compromise, being able to adapt in that relationship, and realizing what's wrong with yourself too.
And of course, it creates a us against them type scenario, right? Oh, he's this way, she's that way, right? It already pins you against her, or her against him, or whatever that is. It just pins you against the other person. And so that's not healthy in a relationship. You shouldn't be pinned one against the other. The point of the relationship is that you are one.
Right. And I remember, like, earlier on in our relationship, I don't know if we were married by then. I think we were dating at the point, but like we would get into arguments. It's perfectly normal for couples to get into arguments, just so you know. If you didn't know that by now, it's pretty normal. Probably we're just arguing about which dishes, who's gonna wash the dishes tonight or whatever. So, but we got into, I remember we would get into arguments sometimes, and I would get so upset, and I'd be like, God, change him. But then there were points where I realized as well that there were things that I was doing that wasn't making the situation any better, or that would make the argument worse, or whatever. So that's why it's just important to just realize what you can do as well, because you can control yourself.
Yeah.
And God can help reveal that to you when you come to him in prayer and ask about that. So
That's true.
and I think when you're watching like different TV shows and you see these couples get into arguments and they go to marriage counseling and all that stuff, one of the things that they always have them do is they're like to say, I feel that you are this way, or I feel that, you were doing this and it was hurting me in this way, or whatever. I think that although it's from TV shows, I think it's very important to make sure that you're not very like accusatory. Is that a word? I don't know.
I think so.
Accusing, I guess. That you're not so like pointing the finger at that person, but you're taking
ownership of your feelings.
Ownership of your feelings.
Well, number 4 is work towards understanding your partner's feelings through their eyes. And the key is through their eyes. Sometimes we want to fit our partner's feelings into our head, into our box.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always the case. That doesn't always work. There are things that our partner may feel sometimes that it may not fit in our bubble or in our perfect world. Maybe we don't understand it. Why this person feels so troubled by this, or why the other person doesn't feel troubled by that. It's not just about understanding it, rationalizing it, and having logic behind it. It's about being able to see it through the other person's eyes. If the other person doesn't understand and is being illogical, there are ways to approach that and to lovingly, try to talk to them about it. Mm-hmm. But first, before you can get to that point, you have to understand where they're coming from, right, and why they feel the way they feel. Right. Uh-huh. And so that's why I think that one's really important.
Mm-hmm. All right, and so number 5 is to be Christ-centered.
Yes.
You come together and you get married. If you're Christian, you come together, you get married before God, and you vow to, be with this person through thick and thin, through, when they're sick and when they're healthy, whatever. And so something that we have to kind of remember is that 2 people coming together in prayer is stronger than 1 person coming before the Lord in prayer. That being said, the devil doesn't want marriages to be successful because they are stronger together. And so that's why it's so important to be Christ-centered, because the devil is going to attack your marriage because he doesn't like that there are 2 people, 2 Christians, 2 children of God coming together and warring towards the kingdom. So I think that's why it's important to be Christ-centered. Not only that, but like we were talking about before, how you want to see things through the other person's eyes, how you want to pray, that God change you because you're the one that can control yourself. That's another reason why it's important to be Christ-centered, because then you can, I guess, realize that you need to pray and that God can show you what's wrong with you, or what's wrong with this, or what's wrong with the situation.
I think a lot of times what happens is that the woman is more spiritual in nature. They're more inclined to the spiritual nature, and sometimes the men, we can get a little comfortable and not be as involved in that role. And I think man actually takes ownership of saying, hey, we need to pray. Hey, we need to pray and worship the Lord together, and make sure that everything that we do is Christ-centered and has is focused around what God wants for our lives. I think that makes the biggest difference.
That was all 5 for today. We'll be posting the next 5 next week, which is part 2. We hope you guys stay tuned. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video if you liked it, subscribe, and write down in the comments section any advice for those of you guys who are married, or maybe if you just have good marriage advice for newlyweds. Go ahead and put that down below, because maybe we can feature it in our next video. So,
and don't forget to like us on Instagram.
Oh my gosh, I always forget. Don't forget to like us on Instagram as well, or follow us on Instagram. All right, guys. That's all for today. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you in part 2.
Sounds good. Bye, guys.